Hey there, this is K4A, Knowledge for All educational videos channel. We are continuing with learning Scratch, with making Scratch tutorials, and in this video today we are going to try to learn how to customize a sprite in Scratch. I have made this exact video 3 times already, I think, but I have made some kind of stupid mistake because I have named my shortcuts in OBS Studio, which I use to record, to pause the recording when delete pressed, and I have used delete in this video, so I was pausing and unpausing a video a couple of times, so I haven't shot everything I wanted, so I have to do it again, and I hope and I'm almost sure it will look good this time. I think fourth. Anyway, let's start to do this and see how to customize the sprite in Scratch. First of all, let's go to Scratch. I will use offline edition. You can use whatever you want. You can use online or offline, whatever you choose and find easier to do. And I will go to shirts and delete this one and this one because I have already made them in previous video, and that's what we are trying to do today. So we are going to start from the Scratch, in the Scratch, and let's do it. First of all, let's for some of you who are new to Scratch, let's see what a sprite is in Scratch. When you say sprite in Scratch or some other game engines like Unity, Game Maker Studio or whatever, sprite means image. So whatever image you use in Scratch, you can say sprite, and that would not be wrong. Sprite is an image. Sprite is an image representing character, shirt, hat, pants, shoes, animals, enemies, whatever you want or need for your game in Scratch. So every image in Scratch is sprite. So you say now, okay, but how do I use sprites? How do I make them? Scratch by default gives you a lot of sprites. All you have to do is go to your right bottom, to the bottom right of your screen, and click on this cat sprite like button, and which says choose a sprite, and Scratch will open a library of images, a library of sprites for you to free of use for you in your games, your animations, your music videos, your stories, and so on. So whatever you want to make, you can use those sprites and start with those. And that's all great and fine, but what happens when, for example, we're making a dress-up game? We come to this fashion sprites, click on the fashion button, and fashion sprites will open. Some of those sprites have only one image, like this wizard hat, winter hat, shirt, but some of them, like pants, shoes, hats, glasses, sunglasses, dresses, they have lots of images in them. So when you hover over these images, over these sprites, you can see those images change, like in some kind of animation. In Scratch, sorry, that's called costumes. So one sprite can have lots of different costumes. In some other game engines like Unity, Game Maker Studio, and so on, they are also called sprites, but sprite animations and so on. I don't want to confuse you. So far, we are just going to call all of those images sprites, and when one sprite has lots of images in it, you are saying in Scratch that sprite has different costumes in it. Simple as that. So the problem I have for my game is that I have only one shirt here in Scratch as a sprite. So there is a nice looking shirt with dinosaur. I have already selected by clicking it here I have used that one for my game, but I have a problem that I need more than one shirt. I need my game to be more interesting. I need this girl to have a couple of shirts to pick from. So how to do it? I need, for example, a pink shirt and this green checkerboard shirt. So how to do it? How to make those in Scratch? There are a couple of ways to do it in Scratch. One way is to make these images in some other application, in some other software like Photoshop, Autodesk, Sketchbook, Inkscape, Paint, Corel Painter, whatever you like or whatever you use, and then import them. When you make them in some other software, then import them in Scratch. That's the first choice, the first solution. We're not going to use that today. The second solution is to make them in Scratch, from scratch. That means make your graphics in Scratch but start without anything on the screen. That's also cool, but it takes more time and skills, so we're not going to use that approach too. And the third approach which we are going to use today is to start from something which is already made in Scratch and just change it to fit your needs. Again, start with something which is already in Scratch and change that sprite, that image into something different, into something else, into something more complex or something like that. How to do it? First of all, that's just what customize word means. That's what I just said right now. So customize means start from something which is already existing in the world and change it to fit your needs better. So for example, and that's not related to Scratch only. So for example, you can customize your real world car or motorbike or shoes or clothing, like changing the color of your car. You don't like the color which was by default by factory on your car, on your motorbike, so you change the color or change the look by adding new features like better I don't know, better gears or something like that. Same with clothing, you can add some kind of different design, customize your own design on your clothing and so on. Same with house, with your walls, you can paint your walls in the color which you like best, and that means customize it. So what we are going to do in Scratch today, finally, we are going to customize this sprite, this image which is already in the Scratch, into this and into this. So let's do it. We are going to start from this sprite here. So if you're not following my dress up game tutorial, that's okay, you don't have to. Just click on this button, choose a sprite, then click on fashion, then click on shirt with dinosaur shirt, with dinosaur design on it, and you can start from that. And for you guys who are following the dress up game tutorial, find the button shirt one sprite, right click on it, click on duplicate, and it will show up on the screen. But the problem is it's exactly same as the shirt which we have already made before, sorry, which we have picked from the Scratch Sprite Library. So pick the button shirt tool with left click and then go to top left. Next to the code button there is a costumes button. Pick that one and say, and you don't have to say anything, sorry, and see what we have on the screen. On the screen we have some kind of application in Scratch, some kind of software in software, and that means Scratch has given you option and ability to draw your sprites, your images the way you want and to use them in your game, and that's very, very cool. So this is like a small Photoshop in Scratch, or small photo image editing application like a painter or something like that, so you can paint whatever you want in Scratch. We are going to customize this shirt, and let's do it. First, let's see what these bars are for. If I move this one, bottom one, I can move to the left and right and center my shirt. Same with this one, bottom and top movement, so you can use those. And I can use those magnifying glass icon to zoom in or zoom out, or equal sign to zoom to 100%, I think. So zoom as much as you want and you need for your visual likeness, and center it the way you like, and then we can start working on it. By default, you should have this select button turned on. If you have some other button turned on, then click on this select and try to select the dinosaur on the shirt. So not this shirt, not the sleeves, not anything besides the shirt, but this dinosaur. Click on it and you can see how it's changed. That's how Scratch says it's selected. You have some kind of border, blue border around it with some circle shaped handles. But for now, just try to click and drag it out of the shirt. Simple as that. And we have already customized our shirt. So now our shirt is yellow shirt, and it was yellow with dinosaur, so there is no dinosaur on it, but the dinosaur is on the left. It still make a problem for us. So let's try to click on delete button on our keyboard to see what happens, and it disappears. Cool, simple as that. So we have customized our shirt into shirt without dinosaurs. Something happened here and it's cool. It's already in progress. And yeah, that's the problem which I had with OBS Studio. By pressing delete, I was pausing my video. I hope that didn't happen this time. Anyway, I'm going to hit Ctrl Z to turn my dinosaur back again, and that's a good practice if you made some kind of error. Ctrl plus Z on your keyboard to undo it, and that's also practice in some other software. Ctrl Z to undo change, and let's do it again. Ctrl Z to put everything back in place as it was on the start. And why am I doing this? Because I want to show you another way. The first way was to select the dinosaur and move it, and the second way is to pick this eraser tool and click and delete the dinosaur. Simple as that. And I have deleted the yellow color from the shirt. It looks like a problem, but don't worry, we will fix that soon. But also, if your eraser is too big, like here, I think by default was 40. Maybe you cannot handle it very precise with 40. You can always lower it here with those two arrows, make it bigger or smaller to work more precise. And again, if it try to fit into the shirt, don't go over the borders like this or like this. It will look crazy, but try to delete the dinosaur only. Okay, so my shirt is without the dinosaur. That looks cool, but what problem do I have now? The problem I have now is that the shirt is still not pink. So how to pick a color on Scratch Sprites? Let's try to find it. Maybe use this brush tool, or maybe even better this fill tool. Let's try with this fill tool, but brush tool could also work, I think. But so for now on, just stick to fill tool and find this thumbnail above which says fill, and where I have this indigo color. If I don't change it, and hover over the shirt and click, my shirt will turn indigo. Is that what I want? No, I want a pink one. So let's try to find the pink one. So again, just hover, move your mouse without clicking, and it will show up how your change will look if you click. but we need a pink color. You have color here, and maybe I can go like this and try to find the pink one, but there is another solution. If I click on this small icon in bottom right corner which says eyedropper, I can now pick the colors from the screen. I can pick this yellow like I did, or this pink which is darker. No, I need this pink, lighter one, and you can see how circle around my magnifying glass changes also. So try to pick the pink lighter one, then click on the fill tool and just click it like this. So it was very simple, and we changed and customized our shirt, simple as that. And I can use that as a new shirt option in my dress up game. It won't work if I click on it because I have to change the code, but that's something else. That's what I will maybe change in this video, maybe not. That's related to my dress up game tutorial, so don't worry for this code, just concentrate on changing the costumes, changing the sprite, customizing the sprite. So we made the pink one, that's cool. Let's try to make this green checkerboard. I can again start from this button shirt one, right click and duplicate it, but it doesn't make much sense. It makes much more sense for me to duplicate the pink one. So I will duplicate the pink one, click and drag it here, and it says now button shirt 3, so that's cool. Let's try now to change this pink into a green checkerboard shirt. Okay, I like this design. Let's see which color I have used for it. Yeah, if you click on shoes here, no, first let me drag it here. If I click on shoes here, and there are the first choice are green shoes. I like those, and I wanted this girl, this character, to have a t-shirt which will match those shoes. So to match green shoes I need green shirt, and I want to make that one. Okay, so I need the green color from those shoes. How to pick it? Let's try it like this. Fill eyedropper and drag it to the screen, but when I drag it to the screen the eyedropper disappears, so it's not working like that, but no big deal. Just select the green shoes. Now click on the fill, eyedropper, fill thumbnail, then eyedropper, then select the green. But what do I want to change? Do I want to change and customize the look of the shoes? No, I want to change and customize the button shirt 3. So we have learned in previous video, if I want to fill something fast with color, just click on it, and before that select the color. Cool, so this shirt now looks like this one in the basics, but we need the checkerboard pattern, so let's do it now. Checkerboard pattern is some kind of darker green, so we need to find darker green. Go to button shoes, fill button, eyedropper, click and select darker green, then go to button shirt 3, and now let's make the checkerboard pattern. How to do it? I will show some kind of maybe slower and dumber way, not very smart, but on the long term it will work for us better, because when you're a beginner, and these tutorials I make now for Scratch are for beginners in game development, in artwork, in computers, and when you're a beginner it's better to go with something which makes more sense to you, and then later the more you progress you learn how to do same things in different, more complex ways, which will maybe be faster and more productive. But as a beginner you're not concentrated on production and speed, but more on how to understand how to do things. Then later you can pick and make your choice which technique is best for you. And again, this technique is not very dumb because this is a very small project, and maybe you will use it in more complex projects too. It's your choice, but again, there are different ways to do it, so don't get me wrong and go, okay, I can do that faster, that wasn't the best way to do it, and so on. The whole idea is to make those tutorials beginner friendly. Okay, so pick this icon which says and button which says rectangle and try to draw a couple of squares on the screen. This one looks like square, this one doesn't, this one is too small, and so on. So the whole idea is that when you draw rectangles in some kind of application, digital, like Scratch, Photoshop or whatever, it's not very easy to do it always and to look like perfect square, but programmers made some kind of shortcut for you, and that shortcut is and help is that if you hold the shift and click and drag, you will get the perfect square every time. So if I don't hold the shift, I'm drawing rectangles, but if I hold the shift, I'm drawing squares. Simple as that. Without shift, with shift. So I will just leave one square and delete the others. And how to do it, go to select button to enter the select mode, then select all the squares you don't need and press delete on your keyboard. Simple as that. Okay, now click and drag this on the shirt and this looks fine to me, but the problem is I need more than one of those. So am I going to click on rectangle and draw some other shapes like this? No, there is a faster way. And which one is this? Sorry. Just click on the select the square, and then click on this button which says copy and click on this button which says paste, and you will have new exact square like the one you have selected in a second. So paste it again, click and drag it where you need it, and I'm making a Scratch a square shaped checkerboard pattern really fast. And because this is a small illustration, I can do it like this, copy paste and so on as much times as I need. Also, you don't have to follow my tutorial and make checkerboard. You can make diagonal shape like this, paste another one, click and drag it, and sometimes it pastes it on the screen close, and sometimes it's much farther, but I think you will find it always where it is. So try to make the checkerboard look, and don't worry for now if some of those squares are out of the shirt. We're not caring for that so far. We will fix that soon, don't worry. And one more, I think, or maybe, yeah, maybe here, but maybe I don't need it. Yeah, okay, so this shirt looks better than the blank green only, but it's still not as good as this one. This one looks better, so we have to fix some of those squares which are pointing out of the shirt. They're not filling the shirt only, but their shapes are out of the shirt also. So how to fix it? One way is to go to select tool, and when you click on the square you will have those circle shaped handles. Then click on those and drag them up if you need them, or drag them left and right if you need to make those kind of shapes. But sometimes, as you see here, it won't be perfect. If I push this more to the top, then my right corner is in problem, and if I fix the right corner, then my left is in the problem. So how to fix it? You have this reshape select button tool, so select the shape you want to reshape, and now you can click on one only circle shaped handle and fix one only angle at a time. So sometimes you will use this select tool and reshape them, and sometimes you will use this reshape and reshape them. My preference is to use this select tool first and then later to use reshape where it is needed. So first do a fast change with select tool only, and then later do reshape. Okay, so I will now use the reshape tool. To have more control and more precise shapes, and you don't have to hurry. It's very comfortable to do this kind of work. It's like some kind of yoga for your mind, but I don't recommend yoga in real life. That's some other topic, but it's fun to do it. It's not hard to do it, and your illustration starts to look better, so it's also gives you some kind of feeling that you are progressing. Okay, and now this looks much better, almost perfect. Maybe one shape here at the top, but I like how it looks. It looks good enough for me for this game. So let me try to show it on the screen by clicking on shirts button. Yeah, it looks good. It looks fine. It looks very similar to this. And maybe on this one there are 1, 2, 3 more squares, maybe, yeah, 3 in a row, and I made 2, so these squares are smaller, so even designs looks even better. But for this video, this is even good enough, and I will stop here. I will just show you a couple of those other tools. So if you want to make something on your own different than mine designs, so for example, if you want to make circles, just click on this circle tool. If you want to make custom shapes like this, go with this brush tool, and that's it. Brush, eraser, reshape, select, fill, lines, circles. If you need some kind of text for your images, just click on the text button and draw something like this. Maybe change it into some other color, into some more yellowish, maybe orange, and you can make some interesting designs like this. That's it, I think, for this video, and try to do some of your own designs if you have time. Don't be afraid. Start with something and then change it into something else, and I have shown it to you how to do it with this shirt, to change that shirt and customize it into this simple pink one, or this little bit more complex green one with checkerboard pattern on it. But you can go wild and crazy as much as you want, and you can share those designs with your friends on Scratch site or wherever you want. You don't have to start with those shirts or shoes. You can use some other kind of fashion clothing and change it into something you like or need for your game, or even better, go with some other sprites for characters, for food, for enemies, for letters, and so on. So you can do whatever you want and customize whatever you want, and that's what Scratch is all about. Thanks for watching, and keep on learning, keep on scratching. Bye for now.